What's up guys, today we're filming an unpopular opinions video. I'm actually kind of geeked over this because I haven't filmed one in years. So if you're new, subscribe, like this video, comment, check out my other videos if you haven't already, check out my socials, everything's linked down below. If you're not keeping up with them, you're missing out. It's where I post updates about pretty much everything, so make sure you are following me on all my platforms. Turn your post notifications, check out my podcast, Pretty Open-Minded on Spotify, and my Etsy Butterfly Organics. So I have a few. I'm gonna be going, there's like a few of them, but I'm gonna be going off of the ones I have, add a little bit on there. So we're gonna start off with Baddies East, the current season right now that's playing. So last episode from yesterday was literally a bust. I felt like it should have never been aired. Spoiler alert, it was horrible. A lot of people are talking about it, but personally I don't like it because I feel like the Scarface and the ET girl and the Biggie thing got blown out of proportion. This wasn't even in my thing, but I'm just gonna add it right now. It was blown out of proportion, and I feel like she's giving follower. I feel like she got people riled up for no reason because they watched the tapes and everything. Well, some people did. Some people on the cast watched the tape because they saw how badly she was overreacting about this, and they're like, it looked like she was reaching over to take a picture, and the guy was reaching over to take a picture. It looked like he slightly tapped her head. She made it seem like he like body slammed her pretty much. She was adding all this extra shit that like literally even the cast doesn't even remember hearing, because I just felt like she was just trying to get everyone riled up. It literally made no sense to why they were like ganging up on Biggie, and I feel like they are constantly ganging up on her, and I'm starting to like her. I used to like Scotty, like she's cool and all, but she's dead ass a follower. Like she doesn't, every time someone asks her about like, oh, what happened, she's always like, I don't know. She's always following Natalie, and she's gorgeous, but she is a dead ass follower, and she's kind of annoying to be on. Like she should not be on the show. She doesn't know how to fight, and she's just a follower, and she's just always like super awkward looking and quiet. Like she just looks like she just likes to be by herself. Whenever they pan to her, she's always by herself, or she's like forcing herself to twerk. Like it just looks very forced, and it just doesn't look like it's natural. It just looks really freaking awkward watching her. E.T. should be the one that's getting evicted because she actually ended up freaking, they actually dragged this part out. I'm guessing it's the next week's episode, but she ended up getting so, well, the thing is like she freaking said that she was gonna drop the issue, but then she was like, let me spin it back and do a Uno reverse card, and was like, oh, I should throw out Biggie's stuff and pack her stuff for her, because the whole episode was about an eviction notice. The whole episode was about evicting Smiley and Biggie. I was like really confused by the Biggie part, because I'm just like, she keeps defending herself and she keeps saying I didn't do it, nothing to do with that. And she kept defending herself, and she was the only one standing her ground. Like nobody came to her defense, even though there was a lot of people there really crying, because who wants to be ganged up by a bunch of people? Suki should not be there either. Suki and her friend should not be there. I used to like Suki because she was like super funny on Instagram and shit, but she should not be there. She keeps saying that she doesn't want to be a bully, she doesn't like bullies, but she's also kind of giving bully. So I'm just like, bitch, pick a side. Do you want to be a bully, or do you want to be the mediator? And when she was trying to mediate this situation from yesterday when the episode aired, it literally made no sense. I just feel like she likes to be in the middle of things all the time, and it should not involve her. Her friend should just stay Suki's, you know, wingman, or her friend, whatever. She gets in the middle of things too, and it's giving ghetto. It's giving like, I want to get more clout. Let me give me some more airtime so I can get more clout. Like their fights had nothing to do with them half of the time. I try to stay tuned with these shows, like the Baddies show. Like my opinion is, okay, I have a lot of opinions about this show, okay? The edits on TikTok made it seem like it was such an interesting ass show, but like watching it in real time, there is so much dead air on all the Baddie seasons. There's so much dead air that it's like, it's not catching my eye as much. I only really try to stay tuned for like the fights and stuff and like the arguing. Don't get why they keep so much weird shit in. Like a lot of it is just staring, a lot of it is like baddie shot o'clock. Like we already know, like they only say 5 catchphrases in every episode, so it's kind of like watching the same episode over and over and over again, because they say like 5 things in every episode. Like their vocabulary is very limited, and it's showing. Okay, go back to school. It's a lot of dead air, but of course on TikTok they don't add that part because they try to make it seem like this is such a cool show. There's a lot of weird shit that they add. Like sometimes their boobs would be blurred, and then some other times it would not be blurred. There's a time where they zoomed in on Anne showering, and I was like, okay, and it was not blurred. So they have weird, like, they pick and choose when they want to blur body parts. I don't care about looking at boobs, I don't care about looking at asses, but like it's weird because I've seen it all pretty much on that show. But the show is overall kind of boring. I can't, like, I'm already invested, so it's kind of hard to just like break from it, because I've watched every season except for like the very first season. That's the only one I didn't watch. Like, who is their editor? The music that they play is ass. So yeah, it's just a lot going on. Natalie's a horrible producer. She's very bad at like hosting and shit. I don't know, she's just giving Mean Girls a lot of the time, and it's just really annoying. But what I wrote on here is like Smiley's and Mariah's fight dragged out for way too long. So for backstory, Smiley somehow got Mariah's chain, and that's why they were fighting. Her sister comes in, Mariah's sister comes in, they fight, and when seeing them fight together was like, okay, how many times are you going to be pulling hair? It just looks like you're damn near like swinging each other around by the hair the whole time, like Ring Around the Rosie. That's what it's giving. But it's just like, it wasn't entertaining. It made no sense. I don't understand why they were dragging this fight out for so long, and Mariah would be chill for like a little bit, and then she would like bring that shit back up again and get herself riled up. I don't understand like why she did all that the last episode, because I'm over here thinking it's resolved, it's done. Smiley's over here thinking it's done, it's resolved, and then she's back getting mad again, and then she's fighting her again. It makes no sense. That fight either. She's actually like, she looks like a freaking raging chihuahua sometimes, and I'm just like, girl, chill out. You got your shade back, right? Why are we still fighting about this? One is, I feel like the only people that can really fight on the show was Tzazik and Krishan. Those are the only two I can feel like they can fight. I didn't say that on my short and my TikTok. I did post about it a long time ago, like maybe a week or 2 ago, and some people did agree with me. But Krishan was freaking not a follower, but she definitely has a huge influence on people. I felt like there were so many people that were like literally her minions, and like it was kind of, not, I guess, fascinating to watch how like one sentence can just make people just go crazy. The thing is, like, she also involved herself into things that did not involve her, and she did it quite a bit, and it was actually annoying to watch a lot of times, because she would just get riled up because she likes the adrenaline of fighting. Just like, it made no sense how like people were constantly under her wing, and when she was pregnant on the show, which I did not understand, maybe she was under a contract, I don't know. What I didn't understand is that she was on the show while pregnant and still was making people fight for her. That was like probably like one of the craziest things I've ever seen in my life, because I have never seen that ever. Her face, and they wouldn't be able to do anything because she was pregnant, and that would just make them look bad if they fought a pregnant person. But I've seen people fight pregnant people on TV. Another unpopular opinion is you can separate the music from the artist. So I'm going to use Playboi Carti as a freaking example right now. I feel like he's a really good example because I feel like a lot of people swept this under the rug. But to be fair, there's a lot of horrible artists out like in the hip-hop world realm, and I don't really like a lot of their actions. I don't support it at all. But he was known to choke out his girlfriends and shit like that, abuse them verbally, physically, and people kind of swept it under the rug because he has a very strong fan base. So, you know, when it was addressed on TikTok, everyone was like under the comments flaming each other over it. He has one of the strongest fan bases ever, but they're all probably 12-year-olds. His music, I've been a fan of his music since I was like 15 or 16 years old. I found him through SoundCloud, just like I did with X. XXXTentacion was also known to be an abuser, but I've had several debates about this with people. I really don't know what the fuck he really did, but I've always heard that he was an abuser and there's also proof of it, but then people were like, no, she's lying, and I'm just like, okay, there's proof. And it was also in the documentary. They talked about it. I watched it. The thing is, acrylic nails are low-key a waste of money. Okay, the thing is, I do like getting acrylic nails. I've done it a few times already. I've done it like 4 or 5 times already, and I do like them. But the thing is, taking them off is like painful. Like, nobody ever talks about that part. Like, when it's like overgrown and the nail, like the acrylic is like right here, and it's like, oh well, I'm not gonna get a fill because it's too expensive to get a fill, and I don't want to sit there for too long. My opinion is not everyone should be having a podcast. I feel like this needs to be talked about because I feel like everyone is getting on the bandwagon of making a podcast. Well, one, I feel like it's because, well, one, it's fun. 2, less restrictions. Spotify doesn't really have that many restrictions, so you know, you can basically talk about anything. I haven't really like talked about too many crazy things on my page because I'm not too familiar with the rules, but I know that it's less restrictive when you make podcasts. So I've seen some clips of other people's podcasts and I'm just like, this is so boring. I've also listened to some people's podcasts. I feel like there's some YouTubers that just don't need it, because I feel like a lot of YouTubers are making it and then like they'll do it for like a second and then they'll fall off the bandwagon. Even if like when they're good, like they're interesting podcasts, they'll do it for a little bit, they have a good streak going, and then they just fall the fuck off, and then they're like pretty much rebranding it, or they just don't care about it. One is, you do not need a 50-step skincare routine when you're like 20. There's been a lot of people that are talking on TikTok about how there's been so many people like younger than me, probably like the youngest I heard was 7. So there's so many kids going into Sephora and Ulta saying that they need like products with retinol, and like they need Drunk Elephant and what is the other brand? I can't think of the other brand, but there was another brand that was kind of popular, like Glow Recipe and shit like that. They're very expensive brands. So a lot of kids were going in there and being like, I need this, I need that, and then a lot of Sephora workers were like making these videos about how they don't need it, and they're just like, you need to stop buying them this. You don't need to buy them this for Christmas or any time. They do not need retinol. They do not need that. So many people in my age range especially are so focused on the wrong things. We're literally like 20, 21, 22, 23, and I feel like this should not be the time to be worrying about aging. I feel like there's too much products out there. Like when I saw the anti-wrinkle straw, I was like, I'm done. I feel like with all these devices, I'm like, the more manipulating, I feel like you're gonna be getting wrinkles over time, because there's just so much manipulation with your skin. I used to try to make my routines kind of long, not intentionally, but I used to put so many products on my face as well when I was a teenager, like in my mid-teens, late teens, because I was going through it with acne. So I was like, I thought, you know, in my head that putting a lot of products was gonna make my skin better. My mom was constantly getting mad at me over it, because she was just like, you're gonna confuse your skin on what should, like, you're not gonna know what's gonna work because you're putting all this shit on your skin. And I'm just like, that's true. I was purging, my skin was purging, because it's just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. You're putting all this stuff on my face and I do not know what to do. and so it was making me break out even more. Using all those 50 products like was not worth it, because I was using like 2 face masks a day. I remember that very vividly. I also remember using coffee grounds on my face because I saw online that it would help with acne and it made my skin burn. Here for the peacefulness. This is what it looks like to have no boy problems. This is what it looks like to be at peace. The one is MacBooks are useless. Is they run out of storage a lot, like quite a bit, to the point where it's like you can't really do anything on it. I used to edit. I've had 3 MacBooks in my life, okay? One I had when I was in high school. It was very old because it was literally like 2015. And so it was very old. It was very thick. It's actually in my closet still. I don't have the charger for it anymore because it stopped working after a while. But that one was good, actually. It was very good. I remember using it for homework all the time. It was very fast. Like, it was like my very first MacBook. I was geeked over it, honestly. I took it into matters into my own hand, and I bought storage. But then when I bought storage, it still said I had no storage. Last one is, y'all need to stop saying that you're a 23-year-old teenager. I'm noticing this trend on TikTok where people are full-grown adults and they're like, I'm a 20-year-old teenager. And I'm seeing it in people's bios, and I saw this one girl. She's actually like married to Nash Greer. He used to be in the MagCon thing back in 2013. You just had to be there to know them. But she says that she's like a 25-year-old teen mom, and I get really triggered when I see this type of stuff, because I'm just like, it's giving millennial. It's giving millennial. I don't want an adult today. Those type of t-shirts. Because I'm just like, I don't understand like why everyone thinks it's okay to say that. I think it's really odd that they want to stay high school mindset. This is pretty much all. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you comment on this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Oh my god, I'm tired. Oh my god, it's not stopping.